What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at polishing and bluing the pipe on your bike. It's a pretty simple job. You just polish it, make it look shiny, apply some heat using a propane torch, and it's going to make it turn a golden yellow, then a purple, and then a nice blue. And then after that it'll turn like a cobalt blue, which isn't the desired look. That's kind of beyond the point you want to go, but we'll talk about that later. So anyway, right here I'm just running it under I ran it under some water and cork rub, and now I'm just wiping it down, getting the water off, getting the mud off. You don't want to do this with a dirty header. You need to make sure it's clean first, otherwise you're going to be moving the mud and dirt around and it's going to make it look terrible. You're going to add deeper scratches, and you don't want to do that because it will show up in the end result. I have some of that because this is a used header. This was on the bike for the entire season, so it's a little scratched and a little scuffed. I didn't worry too much about it because it's just something for fun. I like the look of it. It's nothing too fancy, but it looks good once it's on the bike, and I'm not too concerned about the little scratches. So anyway, let's get into polishing. So now we moved on to sanding it, which is part of the polishing process. I used a 400 grit sandpaper. You can use a wire wheel, but the one that I bought did not work, and this actually worked pretty well. You just need to work your way down from a more coarse grit down to a finer grit sandpaper, and it tends to work pretty good. So 400 didn't work, moved on to 220 or 250. I think it was 220, and this didn't really do much either. There was just a lot of stained metal with the blue from what I did before when I blued it last season. So I needed to just keep getting more and more coarse. So then I moved on to 100 grit paper, and this did a better job. It made some deeper scratches, but I wasn't too worried about it because I was going to work them out again with the 400 grit and then up to a 2000 grit sandpaper, which we'll get to here in a second. So now I went back in with 400 grit sandpaper after the 100, and this is what it looked like. But now we're going to get a better finish with 2000 grit sandpaper. So now with the 2000 grit sandpaper, we're going to do the exact same thing we did before, just work it into the titanium, spinning it really fast, twisting it, pulling it, whatever. You basically just want to get all those deeper scratches out with this one, and this will give it a real polished finish. But after this, we're going to use a polisher and a compound to really get a nice sheen to the metal. So now we're going to work on polishing the header. You can use any metal compound you want, or any metal polish compound. This is the one I'm using, but it doesn't really make a difference. They all work relatively the same. Now you're going to need to get a buffing wheel, which will go on the end of a drill. I'm using a spherical ball, which worked really well to get in the tight corners down by where it meets the engine. So now I just dabbed it on, worked it back and forth, and slowly started spinning the drill. I didn't want it to fly off, so I just kind of put it on the ball and then onto the pipe. Worked back and forth, moved toward the engine, or this end that meets the engine, and then over the bomb. And that's pretty much it. You just kind of work it around, and it's going to look less shiny, but after you rub it off, it'll look way better. Now you're going to want to use either brake cleaner or acetone, rubbing alcohol, something like that, to get any oils off of the header, because if you put a torch to the header with oils on it, it's going to burn a weird color. And something similar to this happened to my other header, which I won't show you because that doesn't look very good. But this one came out a lot better. I cleaned it better, and I guess I missed something on the header on the last one because it came out kind of bad, but I'm just going to leave it. So now comes the fun part. We're going to start working heat into the metal. So kind of just move it back and forth. Don't go too quickly, which I make a mistake of a few times, but you're going to start on the welds. Those are the thicker parts of the metal usually, and it's going to take a little longer to heat up. So I'm slowly kind of working at the weld, and then I'll go back and forth quickly over the rest of the header. And you're going to start getting this golden brown color. And once you start to see that, you know you're starting to get some decent heat in the metal. You can see it's starting to turn a little greenish yellow, and then it'll get golden brown, or golden. And then it'll start to work purple and then blue. So first we're going to get it to this brownish color, put more heat into it, get a purple, and then right after the purple will come the blue. So once you start to get the purple, I would either move on to a new spot or just be very careful, as it's going to turn blue quickly. If you go past that point of blue, you're going to get this very vibrant light colored blue, and there's no coming back from that. You'd have to repolish and reheat it to get the colors back. That light blue will not go anywhere. It's not going to get any better. It's going to stay that way, and it looks okay, so it's okay in some spots, but if the whole thing looked like that, it would really not catch anybody's eye, and it's not going to look that good. So we're starting to get that yellow color. Let's move over to where we get some of the blues and purples going. So now we're going to get some of those vibrant colors in here. It's going to come up pretty quickly. You'll notice the change. It happens very fast. or at least faster than you'd think. So it's going to kind of sneak up on you. But once you get to learn how it works, once you do the first spot, you'll start to learn how fast it comes on. You can see the purple coming there. You can see a little bit of that dark brown almost turning to a purple down toward the left by the bomb, by the weld. But the purple, as you can see, it's still forming toward the top before I even actually put the heat to it. My hat is in the way. There we go. Yeah, that purple's really just coming in, and I'm not even hitting it directly, so you really need to be careful. If you just sit in one spot too long, once you take the heat off of it, or the direct heat, it'll still start to kind of blister, and it'll get that lighter blue, which does happen to me, but no big deal. So we're really starting to get some of those nice colors, and you can see some of the light blue toward the bottom. That means there was a little bit too much heat. That's why I backed off of that spot. It is a tough spot to see down there. It was kind of under in the shadows. The lights were on top. I wish I had a light down low now that I'm looking at it, but it's fine. A couple spots of that light blue is not bad. It adds some character to it, but if you're looking for a very even blue color, it's a little difficult, and it's going to take some practice to get that. But no matter what, I think this still looks a lot better than just a plain titanium pipe, and a lot of other people seem to think the same. Now we're moving on to the bomb. You kind of want to do the whole thing in sections. It makes it a lot easier. You can see I started at the weld on the right. Now I'm kind of working at the left and gradually adding heat to the rest of the cylinder, but mainly hitting that weld point. That's, again, thicker metal, so it takes a little bit more heat. We're starting to get the purple on the edges. Now I'm going to start to work the middle. Right there, I got a big blister, as you could see. I just held the heat there just a second too long, and you could see it really just pop in. So now I have to kind of work around it. Again, someone who's a seasoned professional won't have this problem, but if you're new like me, it takes a bit of practice. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to bluing your header. Simple, easy, fun to do, looks great on the bike. So thanks for watching, hope you learned something, and hope to catch you in the next video. See you later.